Okay, this is take 3 of trying to do this. So people call in, it stops your video. Who knew? So I'm trying to complete the unit circle. Let's see, take 3 happens. Now we're going to learn about ordered pairs. By the way, it's called a unit circle because of the radius. I don't care how long it is, it's called 1 unit. This could be 3 inches, it doesn't matter. It's 1 unit long. So I didn't have this marked at first, but I can't go back and erase it, so it's going to stay marked. So this is how I got the ordered pairs. This is what we're doing today. These are the values for these points. Because it's 1 unit long, so I started the origin, I went right 1, so this point right here is 1, 0. I went up 1, this is 0, 1. Of course, you guys know this. This would be left 1, negative 1, 0, and from the origin, down 1 would be 0, negative 1. So that's pretty easy so far. So finding the coordinates of these points is just going right, up, left, down. 1 unit. So when you look at this big circle down here, we would do the same thing. Again, my radius is longer, but it's still called 1 unit long. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 45 degrees. And again, we're not saying the angles, we're actually going to look for the ordered pair for this point right here. So taking you back to why we learned special right triangles. Now this is going to be important. If you recall, this radius, I made a right triangle out of it, so I just drew it straight down. I made a 90-degree right triangle. So the radius is actually the hypotenuse. And since it's 1 unit long, I'm going to put a 1 here. Now you won't have to do this every time. I'm just showing you how we're going to build the ordered pair. And then, so if that's 1, we know that the legs are congruent. So if that's 1, and if you remember the right triangle here, I'm going to draw this over here. I know if this leg is x and this is x, this would be the square root of 2. So to find this leg, I would have to go backwards and I would have to divide 1 by the square root of 2. So when I divide 1 by the square root of 2, and I'll do the math down here, so I would get to multiply both by the square root of 2. So this would be the square root of 2 over 2. And so these legs are the same, so this would be the square root of 2 over 2. So I just put my right triangle right there. Okay, so, okay, Miss Troyer, big deal. So that still doesn't tell me how I'm going to get this ordered pair. Well, to get this ordered pair, I'm going to take you back to one of the videos like 2 or 3 videos ago and try to refresh your memory and remind you of this. In trig ratios, you know an ordered pair is x and y. Well, for us, it goes cosine and sine. So to get the x and y for this point, it's cosine sine. Well, there's 45 degrees, so I need a cosine first. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, my adjacent is the square root of 2 over 2. My hypotenuse is 1. Well, the square root of 2 over 2 divided by 1 is the square root of 2 over 2. So there's the cosine. So the sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Well, the opposite is square root of 2 over 2 divided by my hypotenuse, which is 1. Well, anything divided by 1 is that answer. So this is square root of 2 over 2. So there's your ordered pair for 45 degrees. It's a square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. So cosine and sine, because the legs are the same, is the same ordered pair always. Now, 45 degrees are the easiest to know. So that's the answer for 45 degrees. Now, here's another thing that's really easy. Now remember, everything comes off this initial side. That's your initial. all these other 45-degree angles are going to be the same exact answer, except for this. Let me grab my triangle. You always build off the x-axis, never the y. So I cut out this triangle. So my next 45-degree angle, you have to go off of the x-axis. You have to go off the x-axis. So that would be this ordered pair right there. So you never go over here. So your next ordered pair is going to be the same. It's the square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. However, let's think of this. I went left and then up. So my x value or my cosine value has to be negative. That's the only difference. But since I went up, that's going to be positive. Now your next 45-degree angle, and by the way, if that's 90 at 45, what would that be? So that would be 135. And then here's this one. So right here, see, this was this 45. If I flip it over, because I'm staying with the x-axis, here's your next 45-degree angle. So that's still the same value, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. This is the beauty of this one. The order pairs are the same all the way around. Just like, see how these order pairs are just kind of switched a little bit? So then here, let's see, I went left and then I went down. So what would both of these pairs be? They'd both be negative. Okay, staying off of the x-axis then, so if I go here to my 45, I just flip it over. So that's touching this value right here. By the way, that's 225. This one is 315. Same ordered pair. Square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. But I went right is positive, down is negative, so that one's positive, this one's negative. So cosine's positive, sine is negative. And that's your order pairs for 45 degrees. Okay? So that's your 45 degrees. Every ordered pair is the same. All right, let's do the 30, 60, 90s. So over here, let me just move this over a tad. I realize you may have to watch this again. So let's think about a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Let's go back and recall this. So on a 30, 60, 90, if you recall, if this is 30, the smaller is x, the hypotenuse is twice x, and then the longer across from the 60 is x times the square root of 3. So I already drew my right angle. So across from the 30, that would be your x. Your hypotenuse is 1. So if that's 1, then my smaller leg has to be half of that. So this would be 1/2. And then across from the 60 would be 1/2 times the square root of 3. So what's 1/2 times the square root of 3? Well, it's square root of 3 over 2. Because look, 1/2 times the square root of 3 over 1 is square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so there's all my stuff. So how do I find the ordered pair for 30 degrees? Okay, well, remember it goes cosine and then sine. Cosine, sine. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, what's my adjacent leg? Square root of 3 over 2. What's my hypotenuse? 1. So you don't have to divide by 1. So this would be square root of 3 over 2. And then sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Well, what's my opposite leg? 1/2. What's 1/2 divided by 1? 1/2. There's that one. So that's for 30 degrees. Now, before I go any farther, let me just show you something real quick. So this is my 30 degrees right here. Remember, everything goes off the x-axis. My other 30 degrees is over here. That's your other 30-degree angle. It's not up here. You never go off the Y. It's always off the X. So your other 30 degree is 30 degrees from the X-axis, not from the Y-axis, from the X-axis. So it's like a kitty cat whiskers. It's got to go from the nose of the kitty cat right here. Always think of whiskers. So right here, that would be your other 30-degree angle. So you don't have to do any math. You just have to look here. So it's still square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. But then that's going to be left is negative, up is positive. So that one's going to be negative. And then what's your other 30 degree off of the x-axis? That's your other 30 degrees. 180 plus 30. So this is going to be square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. But I went left and down, so both of these are going to be negative. Negative, negative. And then over here, my other 30 degrees would be like right here. Here, let me draw the angles in so you can see. See, it doesn't look like a kitty cat whiskers? So right here, this would be square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. But I went right and down, so right is positive, down is negative. My 60 degrees, well, what's 60 degrees from the x-axis? That's this one right here. Now, I'm not going to do all the math because I'm going to just make it really quick for you. They're reversed of each other. So they're reversed of each other. And I didn't draw a 60-degree angle because I want to tell you all you have to do for this is just switch the order. That's it. Because the triangle is reversed of each other. So the 60 would look like this. No, I have it wrong. It's going to look like that. So they're reversed of each other. So all you have to do is just switch the order of the ordered pair. Just like that. Just like that. Switch the order. That's it. So on every one of these, switch the order. And then don't forget your signs. Square root of 3 over 2. Make that one negative. Down here, switch the order. Negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2. Right here, switch the order. Negative 1/2, positive 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2. And there's your order pairs. And these are the only numbers you need to remember. And I'm going to, well, kind of going to maybe stop here and start the other video. So that's how you build your unit circle. A little tricky, but here's the deal. All this math I did, you're going to actually memorize these numbers, these fractions, because you use them over and over again. Like square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, that's always for your 45-degree angles. Always. 1/2 and radical 3 over 2. Those are the only 3 fractions you have to remember. That's it. Those 3 fractions, period. Okay, so I'm going to start part 2 and get off of this video so I don't run out of room.